I've got that. All right.
Yeah.
Questions?
What's the status on?
Yeah, if you've got no questions, I'm out of here, boys.
Sounds like Fields going to be okay, is that correct? Or?
He practiced yesterday, a little limited. I think he's probably 70–75%. Tried to be a little careful with the arm and shoulder, and a couple of times when he didn't think about it, he made good plays. But and his tailbone's still a little sore too. But I think that's, I mean, it was a pretty good fall. I mean, it was pretty significant. So, but having listed as going full today in practice, I would think. I talked to him a couple minutes ago, but I would think he'd be a little better today in practice than he was yesterday. But hopefully, without any recurrence, would be a little better tomorrow than he is today.
Tuesday, you gave Andrew a minute in there when you took Joel out, just in case. Is Andrew getting a little bit more work at the one?
Yeah, and still I'd like to tell you, but I don't have a decision. We've 7th went half court stuff on
Monday.
I was trying to think if it was Sunday and Monday or just Monday, and then we played Tuesday. We were off Wednesday, so yeah, yesterday was the first time he's gone full court. And it depends on how he feels, how I feel, how he plays, whether or not we would give him any time tomorrow night. And I don't think we'll make that decision until maybe even during the game. You know, it depends. I got to get to 100% go from him before he can go. And trainers have already talked to me and give me their input. But now it's more or less it's a basketball decision right now.
So you expect 7th grass to go through warm-ups and do all that stuff tomorrow?
Yes, yeah. If you get to go through warm-ups, it's just another day of rehab is the way I look at it. Even if you don't play, you get to go running and shoot layups and all those kind of things.
Defensively, what are you seeing on the tape as the issues that you guys are having right now?
Same ones we've been having all year. I mean, you got to have more of a sense of urgency to close out on a three-point shooter. Got to guard the rim a little bit better and guard the basketball a little bit better. It's not nuclear science or anything.
I mean, are those things? Can you take a defender who's not very good and make a good defender out of them? Or are those instinctive things that they have to pick up?
You can improve one, yes.
Yeah.
You can't necessarily improve the lateral quickness. You know, you can do all the drills you want to, but you're not going to improve it much. The instincts, you can improve that by showing it to him on the tape, on the court, showing his own behavior. But it's hard. It really is hard. But over years of experience now, you're talking about you can make some pretty significant leaps from a guy's 18-year-old to his 21 or 22. It's hard to do it from January to February, though.
Did the guys defend better, say maybe a month ago, earlier in the season, as opposed to now? And if so, what is the difference?
I don't think that I've been pleased with their defense all year long. It's this thing called the ACC. That's what it is. It exposes your weaknesses, and you're guarding a different caliber athlete at every position too.
Did things ever get weird with Kevin over Cam? I feel like that might have been blown out of proportion.
It was to me. You'd have to ask him also. Yeah. It was to me. I mean, we talked one time. I think it was in the spring because we had just been contacted by them, and we had one conversation. And he told me what he thought the university's stance was going to be. I told him that they contacted us, and Joe, I'm not even sure we ever talked about it again.
Mm-hmm. It feels like somebody you're friends with, though.
Yeah,
coach for you. I mean.
Oh yeah, I mean, I trusted my professional life with it and still would.
Yeah.
Some of the things I do right now, I've copied from Kevin Stallings. But you know, and I think there's a lot of things that we've been used to around here for 4 or 5 years that's been really not necessarily exactly what happened. But again, it's we spent time together at ACC Media Day. We sat beside each other in the van, talked a great deal. No, he's somebody that has been and always will be extremely important to me.
Probably won't happen this week or maybe even during the season, but obviously what he's going through this year, going 0-10.
Yeah, there's no question. I mean, I can't pull in harder than I pulled for him a couple of games ago, just dying with him. I mean, every play.
The state game.
he makes 8 threes in the first half. And, I mean, I was dying, and I would have been dying for him regardless. I know what you're saying. It did happen to be a couple of games, or maybe the game before we played state. There's no question about that. But I'm truthful with you. I would have felt the same way, really, because he's making a bunch of shots, and then all of a sudden, they're coming, and they're coming, and they're coming, and his guy's just not getting over the hump. And I mean, I was almost sick in my stomach at the end of the game. Not like he was, because I know how we take him as a head coach. But no, and I've felt like that 3 times this year. I've really can pull as hard as I can pull for him.
Is this a situation with Cam where you might just kind of pull him aside and have a little talk with him because of where his emotions might be tomorrow night, or is he mature enough that you just kind of trust that instinctually, naturally, he's going to be able to handle things just fine?
I really haven't said a word to him yet. I walked through the trainer's room right there, and it lasted for 10.2 seconds. I said, just play your game. Walked on past it. And I think you answered yourself. I think he's a very mature young man. Human nature, his emotions are going to be a little different than it was for somebody else. But they got a lot of new guys that he didn't play with. And so I think that's part of it there too.
The season that Kevin's having right now, I guess it's only happened to you guys once, 2010. What is that like for a coach, and what do you hope your team takes from an experience like that?
Well, 2010 for us wasn't 0 for 10 in the league so far, and that happened when I was at Kansas. We went 0 for January. We were 0 for January and February. It was so long that we lost 8 in a row, and that was the worst. And Kevin was with me at that time, and it was a terrible, terrible experience. But people who know basketball know. I mean, you look at his roster. I mean, we got, I think, to start 3 freshmen. Luther, a youngster that was the only experience he had coming back from last year that played a lot. Got hurt after 7 or 8 games or something like that. So it's hard. I mean, you keep trying to put your finger in this hole and finger in that hole and finger in this hole. But his kids, he's one of the best offensive. And I kid him all the time. I said, I only talk about what you do offensively, but I'm serious. I still do some of the things to this day offensively that I got from Kevin Stahl. So he's going to figure out a way to help him get good shots for the best shooters. And then you have to sit over there, and they have to perform on game day. And sometimes the other team has a bigger weapon and more bullets. And we did. We lost 8 games in a row, and it's not something that I want to go through again. Jerry Green, one of my other assistants, came in, just walked in my house, opened the door, and came in, and goes over to the counter, starts taking out all the knives. Why? I said, what are you doing? Jerry said, my boy's going to slip his wrist, so I'm getting all the knives out of his house. But that's a tough time, and what Kevin's going through is very difficult.
Because you haven't had many transfers, I mean, do you have a sense for at all how Cam may be reacting?
No, I was trying to think. I don't think Jared was eligible when we played Cal after he had left. Never played LSU. I think we played Texas when Luke was with us, and I think Cam's only the 5th one in 30 years. And so, not speaking from experience, I really don't know. I just play basketball. Something that happened in the past, or what happened in the future, or something happens in the stands, or something happens, on campus. It doesn't have anything to do with how you play in the game.
What kind of progress have Sterling and Garrison made since you started ACC playing, in particular since you went to the small starting lineup?
Well, not as much as I wanted, and that's the reason I think my intention, and I think I did it, was at Clemson to play them more minutes than I had been, because I'm not just coaching for this week, this day, this month, this year, coaching for our program, and I've got to give them some more time. And I think we did it. I don't even know how many minutes they played.
Sterling played 20, Garrison I think was 15.
17.
17. So I think
2017,
that's more than they've played recently, and I'm still going to do that, because I think they're both going to be very good players. So most players get better by having an opportunity to play a little bit. Luke didn't play that much as a freshman, but was better as a sophomore, and didn't play that much, but then was a lot better, but still he had a chance to play some.
Long term, do you see them being able to play much together, or what do you think?
They played some together the other night at Clemson, and they've done that some during the course of the year. So I would assume they'll be okay with it, but I say on one hand I'm coaching for the program, and it really is what I'm doing, but I don't really look at combinations to see what they're going to be. I'm trying to figure out what that referee's going to call the next minute as opposed to thinking that down the line, but they've already done that some, and I think they'll be fine with it.
I think we can safely hit the, go ahead. I want to go into the memory lane section of the press conference.
We never go there.
You guys have to admit, my press conference must be the worst in the world.
The best.
They're the best. The NCAA decided this year to kind of change up the selection committee process. I know that NABC recommended the change going to the quadrant system. Just curious, do you have an opinion on that, and were you in support of that?
I got no freaking idea.
That was the article I was telling you about today.
Is that what you were talking about?
Basically what they're doing is they're putting a greater value on games away from home. Regarding, they used to do RPI like 1 through 50, 50 through 100, and now you get more credit for going away and winning, less credit.
It's
really.
bad this year then. I don't like it. No, I really don't. The only year that I've said even something slight about the selection was the year that our RPI was, now Clint will have to help me, we were 15 and we were 8 seed or something. That just didn't, you know, and every other 15 seed or 16 or 17, whatever crap it was. I know where it was, it should have been equated to a top 4 seed in every year for 5 years in a row. Before that it had been that range. We were all of a sudden
6. We were
Yeah.
6 seed instead of a 4.
And we were matched against Kansas.
in their backyard kind of thing. That's the only time, because I really don't. You play, some very knowledgeable basketball people are trying to do a great job, and for the most part, I think they do a great job. And I never get involved in it. I really don't. I never try. I'm telling you, I don't have any idea where any regional is. I have to ask every now and then to remember where the crappy Final Four is. So I really don't get involved in that stuff. So quadrants, I'm thinking you're talking about my handicap or something.
It's crushing admission, Coach, because that means you don't follow me on Twitter.
Hey, Joe, I don't have Twitter. This is for years that Roy Wood saw something on Twitter. It's because somebody handed me the phone and showed it to me, because I do not do that.
Didn't you call it Tweeter a couple of years ago?
Yeah, the players always do. I said, Mr. Tweet or Twit, you know, because I can't ever remember which one it is, but I've never done that.
On to the historic portion. Obviously, the concept of the Carolina family was really important to Coach Smith, and all of his examples are legendary. When you were hired, did you feel like you had to do some work there to repair some of that?
I think I did. I tried to do the same thing at Kansas. I mean, my first year there, we had a reunion for everybody. We had a reunion every 5 years. When I came back, I think, and now Steve can probably check, I don't think there had been a reunion here in 15 years that I've been gone. And so we've had a reunion, we had a 100-year celebration. We brought back 57 for their 50th year, 82 for the 25th year. We tried to bring back 93 this year, but all of them are, not all of them, but 7 or 8 of them are in coaching, so they said they couldn't come to basketball games, so we brought them for a football game. But at Kansas, I tried to really get all the former players involved and talk about how important tradition and history and the family was, and brought back Coach Smith to 2 reunions. I sat there and watched a tremendous basketball game at the 100th year reunion, Kansas against Missouri, and asked me a question about a play after the game that I was just dumbfounded that he even noticed, because everybody was always trying to talk to him during the game. So I did that at Kansas, and when I came back here, I felt like I had to win. I don't want to get fired. And I felt like it was extremely important to get everybody back involved as much as I possibly could. And tried really hard. I'm sure that we haven't succeeded in every area, but I've always thought that it's really extremely important. Yeah.
It's a real thing, the Carolina family.
I think it is.
Yeah.
I really do. And it's unique because all the guys in the NBA tell me, all the NBA guys, you know, talk about it and everything, and everybody said they're just jealous, you know, and I love those kind of things too. But and it's the kind of thing that I think with my relationship with players, I mean, I'm at home last weekend and I get a phone call from Kirk Heinrich, and that was 15 years ago. And I'm not real good, but I haven't sent out all my Christmas cards yet.
I have not.
I've sent out half, but the reason I do it is because if I send out a Christmas card at Christmas time, you don't remember mine. If you wait a month or so, then they remember yours, yeah. So I've gotten all the North Carolina players who've gotten their Christmas cards that ever played for them, and I'm doing the Kansas guys right now. So it's something that I enjoy doing.
Are you remiss, speaking of Twitter, that you haven't turned the Carolina family into a hashtag for your recruiting images?
So this is like that question on the stupid recruiting exam. If you don't know what the hell it means in the question, how can you give them the right answer?
Flash drive.
Well,
Flash
Flash
drive.
drive.
Yeah, I got no
You know what a
idea.
hashtag is?
Is that the one that looks like a
Yeah, number sign.
Yeah, I've never used that in my life. Is that the one you put on the phone to get?
Yeah, you might need to put pound on the phone.
Yeah, I do that, right? Pound, yeah. And pound,
So
same
you-
as hashtag.
So maybe you are remiss that you haven't created this
Yeah, I
hashtag.
probably have.
Anybody have a question about our team?
It is about your team.
Roy, looking at your big men now, if you add them together, do you have a plan?
We're getting closer. We're getting closer. Even this last week, I think Sterling has tried to amp up his intensity level. But you can't do that if you've never done it. It takes a while to develop that. I mean, Michael Jordan sat there and said, I worked as hard as everybody else. I said, oh, I thought you were going to be special. You know, and then during his 3 years here, nobody worked hard. But he didn't do that in high school. And so it does take the intensity level and the stamina to hold your level of play at a really high level, effort-wise, competitive-wise. It takes, a lot of times it takes big guys longer because they've been successful sometimes just because how big they are. You know, I told you, I mean, he'd tell you the same thing. I mean, Sterling, the first game I saw him play with his team, he came running over to me like a little puppy dog. Coach, what do you think? You know, this kind of thing. And I was just laughing. I said, you need one thing. You need to learn how to do one thing. He said, what's that? And I took my hand and rubbed it across his forehead, and I said, sweat, son. God almighty. You must play a whole game, you didn't sweat at all. And so his dad's told me, I've taught him how to sweat a little bit more right now. But I think that's the biggest thing with the Phil is that they've got to learn what they can do and be pushed to do it and be have the focus and the drive themselves to try to do it every time. And big guys always, you know, get there at a different speed than most other guys, I think, too. But I think they're getting better, I really do.
Take two more and then we'll get Theo in here.
Roy, I wanted to ask you about Rayshawn Black. Have you had somebody with that size and skill set before?
Not the same kind, because he's a 6'8", you know, who knows what he is, in that range, really a guard. I mean, he thinks pass first. I've never had anybody at that size think pass first. And I mean, he can take it to the basket and dunk on people like small forwards, power forwards. But he's a guard. That's what he thinks like, plays like, acts like. So I've never had anybody at that size and that age with that kind of skill. I've had some pretty good 6'8", you know, Harrison Barnes was pretty good, and some other guys, but he really does think like a guard and thinks pass first. And he's got to improve his shot. It's not broken. He's just got to get a lot of reps, but he's got a chance.
Do you have him penciled in for any particular position on that guard, obviously, but
1 through 4.
yeah.
Nick Bradford, Steve Woodbury, and Theo. They're the only guys I've ever had that have played 1, 2, 3, and 4 in the same game. And they told me that the other night, Theo told me, because against Florida State last year, we were with some small lineup, and he was guarding Ojo. So he says, Coach, I went 1 through 5. Anybody else?
Coach, I
Speaking.
got one more big man question. I was just wondering, against Clemson, you had Sterling and Garrison in for the
I had
period. Sterling and Garrison in together. I was wondering how much more do you trust them kind of now as opposed to?
If you guys really seriously, you go back and look, I had that the first game, second game, third game. It's just it wasn't a lot. But we did play them together. Since we went small, we've played them together. But as I said, I decided that I was not doing what I thought I needed to do for their development, so we played them a few more minutes. And we'll continue to try to do that. But what'd you say, 20 and 17? You know, so if one plays 20 and the other plays 17, you know, they're going to be together some on the floor there because Luke's going to play some too. And so it's not just, Sterling is, quote, the 5-man. And that's the position he plays. But Garrison can play the 5 and the 4. Luke can play the 5 and the 4. Theo can play 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5.
Coach.
What's that? He can coach, he can handle the press conference. You think this one's bad, you wait till this comes.